City Chiefs, and I know you agree with me, and it starts at the top with these two.
For 10 years, we've done an amazing job of not covering the coverage, but in this case, we must do so. Andy Reid elevated himself. Let Alex Smith go. Nurtured Patrick Mahomes along with Eric Bieniemy, and he got a $500 million contract. Under center, they're doing trick plays and gadgets. They're like mad scientists. You know what we should ask them for? The vaccine of COVID-19. I bet those two guys could come up with it. I really do. You got Travis Kelce out there running through the middle of the field, stiff-arming people holding the ball with one hand. You got the cheetah doing jet sweeps and going deep. And so watching the Kansas City Chiefs play allows me to realize they're toying with the competition. They are the clear-cut best team in the NFL.
I feel the exact same way. It's in a power rankings. It should be the Chiefs, and then you should have to like flip the page to get to the second team, which is probably going to be the Steelers or the Seahawks or the Packers or whoever. But Jalen, another thing I want to mention is we celebrate the trick plays and we celebrate all the touchdowns and everything Patrick Mahomes does. But there's something that he's doing which is really impressive. It's actually what he's not doing. Let me show you a highlight from Patrick Mahomes. You see this? He drops back, throws, and he's picked off by the Raiders. Why am I showing you that? That is the only interception he has thrown all season long. He has one single interception, and not just that. Take a look at these stats. One fumble. Oh, he got that back.
Wow.
11 sacks. It might seem like a lot of sacks, but that's just over one sack a game, and his QBR is second in the league. Patrick Mahomes does so many things on the football field, but it's actually what he doesn't do, which is just as impressive, and that is get sacked, fumble the ball, or throw interceptions. And Jalen, while we're celebrating the offense, we also have to give a little hat tip to the defense. What do you like about the Chiefs' defense?
Their pass defense has been outstanding, Jacoby. And when you have an offense that's going to score the way the one we just highlighted, now all of a sudden defense, you can focus on pass rush. And Frank Clark, which is scary, is talking about how he wants to move around more, how he wants to see the defense be more gadget prone like the offense. So that's going to be crazy for the opposing teams. But I want to point something out to you, Jacoby. You've shown Patrick Mahomes one INT. That's also the one game that they lost. So we may or may not know. Maybe the Raiders have something that can be a problem for the Chiefs. They are playing good football, and Derek Carr is dropping dimes this year, but we're on the same page. The Kansas City Chiefs are the clear-cut best team in the NFL.
Yeah, and the Chiefs aren't perfect. You know, they squeaked by the Panthers last week, and they were in overtime against the Chargers early in the season. But I would say of all the teams are flawed, but this team is less flawed than the others. There's a but for every team. But again, this Chiefs team right now in this league is head and shoulders above everybody, not just in their conference, but in both conferences, in our opinion. Jalen, bombshell report from our colleagues, Woj and McMahon. They are hearing some whispers from some sources in Houston that their two former MVP All-Stars, James Harden and Russell Westbrook, are a little uncertain. They're a little uneasy of what's going on down there. Daryl Morey's gone. Mike D'Antoni's gone. Jalen, you've been around this kind of thing and involved in this kind of thing for your whole career. What do you think about this report?
I think a few things. The Houston Rockets were paying Daryl Morey top dollar for his three-point bombs away style, and Mike D'Antoni to implement it. Both of those guys are getting top dollar. Now when you bring in Silas, you want to trade your former MVPs. Here's what I'll say about that. Russell Westbrook and James Harden are vastly different in how they perform and how they would be received from another team. I believe if both of these guys are moved, Jacoby, they would be moved to low-fringe playoff or non-playoff teams from this year. I think you'll look at the paper and be like, James Harden averaged 35, all of a sudden we're going to trade him into a contender. But his style, his isolation play, and his inability to play off the ball, that's not attractive to all teams. For Russell Westbrook, I saw the report that basically acknowledged a couple of teams in play. One of them being the Knicks, who I think should be in play for both of these guys because their team fit the dynamics of what I just said should be looking for players like this. But also for Russell, the other team mentioned was the Clippers. Trust me, as somebody that's been around the league as long as I have, I understand what Jerry West likes and dislikes. I don't see Russell Westbrook as his type of player. And here's what I mean. He's not an accurate three-point shooter. He has high turnovers, and sometimes he makes questionable decisions in the last couple of minutes of the game. You don't become the logo of the NBA, as well as one of the greatest general managers of all time, and not have certain traits that you just frown upon. And based on that, I don't believe Russell Westbrook ends up a member of the Clippers.
Interesting. And I've said it before, I do not think what the Knicks should do is go trade in for a superstar. Don't you dare give away your picks. Don't give away your young players that I love like Robinson and Barrett. You can get rid of Randall and maybe Knox and throw something together, and if they're willing to do that, but who's taking on Randall, Knox, and a pick for Russell Westbrook? I'm just not sure that I see that happening. But Jalen, this is interesting. One thing in this report that I bet people won't really talk about is this. They were consulted in the Silas hire. They knew that Silas was coming in. So why do you think if they were involved in this hire, they co-signed it, why would they now be uncertain? Why would we be hearing about this now?
Oh, it ain't that they're uncertain. That's ownership in a lot of ways probably using Silas as a pawn toward the players to be a voice. So you get their buy-in to who they want. So therefore, if they're still on your team, they can't say that you didn't get them their guy. But at the same time, now that Silas and both of those players are still under contract, as ownership, you can now pivot and say, should we move both of them, if not one of their salaries, in order to actually rebuild? It's not just about trading the player, Jacoby. In a salary cap sport, it's trading the salaries in a lot of ways.
Yes, and there has been a lot of coverage of owner Tillman Fertitta's financial hits that he has taken due to the pandemic. As many businesses have, his business has been negatively affected. Now, Jalen, it would be big news if this report